Alrighty, everybody. What is going on? Welcome back to the Journeyman Sports Podcast. I'm one half of the show. I'm Garrett. Usually Cade is here. Been having to do our thing kind of separately recently, but Cade is out in Alaska. Cade, if you're watching this, I hope you're having a good time. But wanted to come make this video right after the Terrence Bud Crawford Earl Spence fight. What a fight it was. Bud Crawford put on an absolute masterclass in this one. Was just he was in control of the whole fight. As someone who is an overall kind of novice to boxing, I've been getting really into it. Been trying to watch a lot more fights, learn more. This was one of those fights that even as someone who's not the most well versed in this sport, I feel confident enough to say Bud Crawford on my list, comfortably the number one pound for pound fighter in the world. I don't think that's a crazy thing to say at this point after that performance. I mean, if any of you guys watched the fight, he was just dominant from the second round on. The first round Spence took, in my opinion, but man, to talk about Earl Spence first, he just seemed off from the get go to me. The timing, and he's just never really able to look like himself. We know Earl Spence, if you watched him, if you follow boxing, he's able to establish his jab early, build a lot of different shots off that. There was really none of that tonight. Um, Looked off kilter. The timing wasn't there, and he was never able to catch Bud Crawford with any big shots for sure, and really anything super solid that would really build momentum or change around anything like that. But man, Spence, a big thing to me, he seemed to be overextending a lot in this fight. I think he wanted to come out as the aggressor, which he definitely was the aggressor in this fight, but I think it was to a fault of him, of his own. I think it was the biggest detriment to him in this fight. Bud is a guy that's too good. You cannot overextend. You can't make those mistakes. And he punished him the whole fight. Every time he made a mistake and overextended, there was a counter, and Crawford stuck it to him a lot of this fight. And to me, it reminded me a lot of watching the Ryan Garcia Tank Davis fight. Ryan Garcia trying to be the aggressor, overextending a lot in that fight as well. And they're training partners now. They're at the same gym. So yeah, maybe it just runs over there. But yeah, Spence, another thing to me, never seemed to quite move off the center line. He was either moving backwards or forwards. There was no side to side, and he just seemed lost a little bit. And Bud Crawford had the answer to everything tonight. A lot of these mistakes, in my opinion, that Spence seemed to be making, every time he made it, Bud Crawford was there with something to change the fight, change the outcome of an exchange, was just in control the whole fight. And a big part of that was Bud Crawford's ability to stop Spence's jab. I mean, he was deflecting, missed, nothing was landing for Spence this fight. And I really can't say that enough. That is Spence's biggest weapon. That's what he's able to build off of, like most boxers. But Spence has one of the best jabs in all of boxing. And it was not there tonight. It was not there at all. And man, Crawford used his whole toolbox, uppercuts, hooks. The jab was just so powerful. I mean, he knocked him down in the second round with a straight. Like, it was just straight right to the chin, and Spence went down. And a lot of the time you see more of the flick jab approach, just trying to land the shots. But Bud Crawford's jab had some bad intentions behind it and some serious, serious power that I was not quite expecting. But yeah, I mean, just a wonderful performance from Terrence Crawford tonight. Really can't speak enough about it, but there was just, I don't know. He just dominated. It's really a pretty simple analysis to me. He just dominated the fight, made Spence uncomfortable, and like he said he would do, he did end up filleting him. And that kind of brings us to the interesting part of this, just talking about a rematch. And they asked Spence about it after the fight. Bud Crawford seemed to be down for it. Spence is definitely wanting to rematch, but like he said, I think this needs to be the next fight for Errol Spence against Bud Crawford. For Spence to really try and win and come back on this, it should be at 154. That's going to ensure that Spence is not as drained as he looked tonight. He looked, I don't know, gassed isn't the right word. He just seemed to be tired. And I think a big part of that played into his timing and just him not seeming like he was at his best tonight, which is to take nothing away from Terrence Crawford. But Spence seemed like he had his B game tonight. And I think if that next fight is at 154, that could definitely play a factor in it. But that's all that I really have to say about this fight. Make sure you guys go and watch the highlights if you haven't already seen them. But man, what a great night for the sport of boxing. Two of the best in the world, definitely the two best in their weight class by a mile. But boxing seems to be back on the up and up. We have bigger fights, we have the best fighting the best. It's a really exciting time to be getting into the sport. And if you are and have been a fan of the sport for a while, it seems like there's a little bit of a revive that's coming. And yeah, I'm super excited. So let me know in the comments what you guys think about this fight and who you think would win in the comment in the rematch. So yeah, make sure to comment, like, and subscribe. Keep tapping in with us. And Garrett, one half of the show for the Journeyman Sports Podcast. We'll see you guys next time.